Greetings, YouTube. I'm going to be discussing something I read earlier this month, and it starts with a really crushingly depressing piece of information. Between 65 and 70 million American adults have some kind of arrest conviction. That's 3 or 4 out of 10 Americans. And because of this, that has a major impact on their ability to find work or get an interview. Because most job applications have a little box on there that says, have you been convicted of a crime? Some are more specific, have you been convicted of a felony? Some don't count misdemeanors in that particular case, which is, I guess, at least one step in the right direction. But there are places that are trying to ban the box, trying to get that question off of job applications, and only have the person's previous convictions come into play if they would impact the job specifically. So if you were a bank robber, you probably shouldn't be applying to a bank. But if you're a car thief, or were a car thief, and you want to work in a factory, or you want to do tech support on a phone, how is that going to be impacted by your past history of stealing cars? It isn't. And if you've served your time and are now out in the world attempting to rebuild your life, having a full-time steady job is a major step in that direction. And the problem is that we've put a big letter A, arrested, on these people's chests and said, no, you don't get to have a job. Pardon me, I have a cat doing things that might cause problems. And we shouldn't be doing that. I know a guy who once was facing a charge of dealing, and he was given the option, if he rolled on the guy he bought from, he would get a choice. He would get 3 months in a state penitentiary and a federal charge on a felony charge on his record, or the judge said, I'll give you a year in a federal pen at a max and it'll be listed as the maximum Class A misdemeanor. And you will never have a felony for this particular case. So this guy I knew took the year in federal pen. It was probably the only smart decision he ever made in his entire life, because Bob was remarkably good at making bad decisions on a daily basis. The least of which was probably his decision to deal. He was really good at bad decisions. But he got smart. He took that year, he did his time, he got out, and he never had to worry about checking that box on an application that said, have you been charged with a felony? But we shouldn't be asking that to people, particularly seeing as, 30 to 40% of the adult population has an arrest record. Because these people need jobs. We want them to rebuild their lives. That's the whole point now, isn't it? Serve your time, then come back into the world and start over again. Well, they can't start over again if they don't have a job. They can't get a job if the job is shut down, the application process is shut down before it even starts, because they have to check that little box that says, yes, they have in fact had an arrest record of some variety in the past. So, unless that's related to the job they're applying for, I don't think that box should be allowed. I also think that we should eliminate the whole gender question on applications as well. Male, female, just take that right off. And now while we're at it, get rid of all those prefixes, Mrs., Miss, Mr., what have you. We don't need those. Just your name is good enough. Unless you have something that a degree that matters, those other things just cloud things up. So I'm all for banning the box. I'm all for letting people have a second chance, because that is what this whole process is supposed to be about. That's what the justice system is supposed to be. It is supposed to be about redemption. It is supposed to be about coming back and starting over. Because otherwise, it's about revenge. And that doesn't help anyone at all.